this is Taylor from Discomfort Films, and back in January I made a video about my entire Blu-ray and DVD collection up to this date, and this is just gonna be I was gonna say quick, but there's like kind of a decent stack here, so I don't know how quick it's gonna be, but just an update on some of the things I picked up since then. There's some cool shit in here that I'm eager to talk about, so I'm just gonna get right into it. First off, it's gonna be a bunch of like secondhand and thrift store Blu-rays I picked up. So the first one is a Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Steelbook. I was in Videomatica the other day, pick up some things, and they had a few steelbooks in their previously owned section that I was interested in, but I love this movie, and I think I already had like basic Blu-ray that came out initially, but I think I left it at my mom's house when I moved, so I'm really happy to have this. I love steelbooks. Next one up is Life of Pi, a great film, probably one of the best theatrical 3D experiences I've ever had. Next one up is this kind of cool edition of The Social Network. You can't see like the title on here, but because it comes in this cool slipcover, but yeah, there we go. Great film, very prescient. I love that I'm now living in a timeline where Western democracy is under threat because some nerd in university couldn't get laid. Best timeline. May as well do these three together. These are animated Disney Renaissance films, The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, and Beauty and the Beast. Don't get me wrong, as a company, they're major pricks, but I do love a lot of Disney's IPs, and their animated canon is no exception. I love all three of these, but probably like The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast in particular. Especially The Lion King, so that was like one of the movies I watched over and over and over again when I was a kid, and I genuinely never get tired of it. This is another animated film, probably as far from Disney as you can get. This is Belladonna of Sadness. This is a psychedelic, almost like watercolor art style anime about this peasant woman who becomes a witch in medieval France. I understand why some people wouldn't like it because it is very rapey, but I just like absolutely love the art style and the music, and I cannot wait to rewatch this in the future under some kind of influence. Right, next up is Severin's release of Threads. Unfortunately not the lenticular slipcover edition, but still a great movie, so whatever. I already talked about this a little bit in my most recent video, entry-level disturbing film recommendations, but it's probably one of the bleakest damn movies ever made, and it's pretty amazing what they managed to accomplish despite being on like a TV movie budget and production value. Again, this is very easy to find on YouTube and like basically anywhere online, so I'd highly recommend checking this out, even if you're not inclined to buy a physical copy. And the next one is Blue Underground's 3-disc edition of Maniac. Probably one of my favorite 80s slasher films, although this one kind of straddles the line between a slasher film and like a straight up serial killer movie. This one did in fact come with like a lenticular slipcover, which is very cool, but I don't know if it's just me, but like the cover is so tight on like the actual case that like every time I tried to remove it, I'd be worried about like breaking one or the other, so that's why they're separate. I have this box that I store like outdated editions of stuff in, so I might just store this separately just because I'm worried about breaking it. This actually got a remake in I think like around 2012 starring Elijah Wood, and I watched it when it came out and I do remember liking it, but I just love the original movie. It's genuinely underrated. Now this is one I was super excited about. I already had this film on Blu-ray, but this is the new Criterion edition of Pink Flamingos. I absolutely love the packaging of this, and I'm actually going to open it and show you because, see, the outside is just kind of like a paper bag or a package, and then take that off, and you got this really awesome like painting of Divine with like the dog in the background, and even on the back there's like a little tag on it like a painting in a gallery, and on the inside you have a barf bag. The booklet that or at least most Criterions come with is like in the style of like a newspaper, which is very neat. I did talk about this a little bit in my last collection video when I had the DVD, and in my last list video. I'm still working my way through his filmography, but it's not my favorite John Waters film. Like, it's very rough around the edges, but that kind of adds to the charm. And it has this really memorable and insane cast of characters in it, and there's some genuinely both hilarious and disgusting stuff in it. Next up, I think this is Mondo Vision's Possession. This was actually a blind buy. This has been on my watch list for ages, and I finally splurged on it when I found it cheap on eBay, and I absolutely loved it. Sorry, I literally just woke up like half an hour ago. My throat's really fucking dry. And like on paper, it's just about like a married couple splitting up with like some weird supernatural elements in it. But the way it's presented is just like so like genuinely uncomfortable. And it makes it feel like very heightened and surreal. The entire cast is just like at an 11 all the time, which I imagine must have been like exhausting on set. And unfortunately, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but the actress playing the wife in particular is like really brilliant and terrifying. Highly recommend this if you haven't seen it already. Thinking of it now, YouTube might get mad because of the cover, but oh well, I don't give a fuck. I am monetized. Okay, and the final three are from Vinegar Syndrome. They're actually the first Vinegar Syndrome purchases I've made, and I really enjoy them. The first one up is Ebola Syndrome, directed by Herman Yao and starring Anthony Wong. I already had a Unearthed Films release of The Untold Story, but I actually like this a lot more. It's about this absolute sleazeball played by Anthony Wong, basically, who contracts Ebola while he's in South Africa, but it's this rare case where he gets a little bit sick for a while, but other than that he's fine, but he can still like pass on the virus. So of course he starts coughing and sneezing and jizzing all over everything just to like spread the Ebola just because he's that much of an asshole. It's extremely sleazy and over the top, and overall it's just a wild ride. I had a lot of fun with it. Next one up is one of my favorites. This is Miami Connection. I had the Draft House Blu-ray a long ass time ago, but I think that was another one that got left behind at my mom's when I moved, and I'm not even sure if she still has it, so I was really excited when they announced this was coming out. It's this very cheesy, very 1980s martial arts movie about this rock band comprised of orphan university students who also do taekwondo, and there's also a gang of cocaine-dealing motorcycle ninjas in it, which yeah, it's one of those movies. You know, there's so many movies out there about taekwondo orphans and cocaine ninjas, but this one really stands out. This is generally considered one of those like so bad it's good movies, but it feels, or at least I feel mean even calling this a bad movie, because while it's like very amateurish and incompetent in several aspects, especially like the storyline and the dialogue, it actually has this nice visual aesthetic, and the soundtrack absolutely rips, and it's genuinely like a really fun movie to sit through. And I feel like I should mention this actually comes with 2 editions of the film, just like the regular normal edition, and also one called, I think, Escape from Miami, which was the original cut of the film before reshoots. And I definitely prefer the original version, but the Escape from Miami version has some fun stuff in it. Mostly just more random scenes that don't really add anything to the overall story, but it's still kind of funny. And another fun fact about the movie, I don't remember the first director who shot most of the film, but back when it was still the Escape from Miami cut, it was decided that they needed to film a lot more stuff and recut a lot of the movie, but I think the original director was no longer available, so the star, YK Kim, who you see on the cover here, he actually got like a how-to book and directed the new scenes himself. And honestly, at least while I watched the film, there's like sometimes when you have a movie that like switches directors like that, there's this really noticeable difference between like the quality or the style between what was filmed by the original director and what was filmed by the new director. Like the Fantastic Four movie from a little while ago is a good example. But I never noticed that here, so I think like YK Kim did like a genuinely good job filling in. And I think like almost everyone involved in this movie were just like either students or colleagues from his taekwondo dojo or whatever it's called. And they clearly had a lot of fun making this, and I and many other people had a lot of fun watching this, so in a way they did kind of achieve their goal. So anyway, moving on, this is the last one, but it is big, also Vinegar Syndrome. It is Thriller, A Cruel Picture. It's the limited edition set. This was a blind buy. It was my first time ordering direct from Vinegar Syndrome, and I mainly wanted to make an order for this, but because of like Canadian shipping and stuff, like I wanted to get one other thing, and this has been on my watch list for quite a while, so this is what I picked up. This comes with 2 different versions of the film. Thriller, A Cruel Picture is the original cut, and the only one I've seen so far. An American recut called They Call Her One Eye. From what I know, like the main thing that was cut from Thriller for the American version was like actual hardcore porn shots that were just kind of, in my opinion, pointlessly inserted into the movie. I liked the movie, but I thought that was kind of gross and didn't really add anything to it at all, so I wonder if, I still need to watch it, but I wonder if I would like the American version more, I don't know. But about the movie itself, I went into this expecting like a standard sleazy rape revenge movie, and it kind of is, but it's also quite a bit different than I expected it to be. It is very slow-paced at times, at least the thriller cut, which was a little bit much for me sometimes, but I did appreciate how it like took time to build up the character and her motivations, especially since the lead character in this one is mute, so she doesn't have any actual dialogue. And again, I don't remember the actress's name off the top of my head, but the lead actress in this does a really great job. She manages to convey a lot through her like facial expressions and body language, which I thought was really cool. And even though the first 2/3 were kind of slow, like the third act goes really hard, which in my opinion made up for it. And some trivia about this movie that a lot of people will already know is that like the lead character in this, who is either named Madeline or Frigga, depending on which cut of the movie you watch. This character's appearance was a major inspiration to Quentin Tarantino for the appearance of, I guess they're both female revenge movies as well, but particularly the appearance of the character of Elle Driver in Kill Bill. Not only because they both wear eye patches, but they both color coordinate their eye patches to their outfits, which I thought was like a really kind of silly but fun detail in this movie. So yeah, this was a blind buy, but while I wasn't totally in love with the film, there was a lot that I really enjoyed and appreciated about it, and I'm genuinely interested to see the alternate cut to see what the other differences are and if I actually might end up enjoying that more. So thank you for watching. That was my Blu-ray collection update since January 2022 up until June 2022. If you have also seen or own any of these films, I am curious about what your opinions on them are in the comments. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.